Hey, what's up everyone? This is Ill Factor from beatacademy.com, and in this video series we're going to take a look at some advanced Ableton Live tips to instantly help you be more creative with your projects. And specifically in this video, we're going to look at the groove pool. Now I know the groove pool isn't necessarily an advanced Ableton Live trick, but it's so often overlooked, and when you see how powerful it is, it might be really inspiring and encouraging for you to utilize in your upcoming projects. So let's dive right in. Being able to extract grooves and utilize the groove pool is a great way to add a humanistic feel and element to your own performances. And here's what I mean. On the top here, we have a drum break, the one in orange. And beneath that, in purple, we have a drum beat that I step sequenced. Now, both aren't wrong, but what we have going on here in my beat is that every hit that I've drawn in just by double clicking is going to land directly on the beat. So there isn't any looseness, nothing is off time, everything is exactly where it needs to be. But the problem with that is it just becomes stiff. The velocity is exactly the same. There aren't no nuances that are going on there that really add more of that humanistic element. This is where grooves, extracting grooves and creating a groove pool can be really helpful. If we go back to the drum break, and if we focus in here, we zoom in, we'll notice that this snare hit is not directly on the beat, like my drawn in beats in the purple region. So if I can just create a warp marker by double clicking this transit and just nudge them over, now it's going to be on the beat. I'll double click that so it erases that. We'll look at other areas here, like here, you have this hit over here, it's off by that much. And so that's okay, because that's just the natural timing of the drummer of that recorded drum break. So if I just solo this again, and we'll turn the metronome on as a guide. Yet the beat doesn't sound that far off. It does have a great feel to it, and the feel is what we're after. Now, feel is such an important element, especially when you're making beats. It's because if things just come off too stiff, then there really is no feeling there, right? And so you want to be able to input some feel. So it's almost, the way I think about it is, I would love to hire the drummer of this audio drum break, and I'd love to hire whoever played drums there for him to actually insert his feel and his vibe onto my beats, right? If that was possible. But that's what we're going to be able to do right now. So what I want to do is, without nudging any of these snares or hi-hats that are off, we're going to leave it exactly the way it is, and we're going to right click on here, and we're going to choose extract grooves. And what this is doing is Ableton Live then analyzes what's going on with this drum break, everything from the velocity, the volume changes from one transient to the next, the timing, and then it takes that information and it places it in our groove pool, which you can access by clicking this button right here on the left side of your browser. Now, as you can see, a little groove pool window opens up, and you'll see Funkadelic, You'll Like It Too, which is the name of the file that we extracted that groove from. Now let's go through the application, applying this groove over to our MIDI drums first, and then I'm going to go back and walk you through what some of these settings mean. So right now what we've done is we've literally sucked out the groove, the pattern, the timing. We've sucked all out from this orange drum break. As you can see, it's not perfectly quantized. This snare drum hit is a little off, and things like that. So now what we're going to do is head over to these drums that I've step sequenced, which I just drew in using my double clicking and pencil tool. Now what we're going to do is go to the groove drop down menu here, and we're going to select one of the grooves that we extracted. Being that we've only extracted one groove so far, that's the only one that's given to us here. So we'll select that, and now we're going to go ahead and hit the commit button. And you'll see immediately once we do that, things have shifted over here. So we can zoom in on our snare drum, and as you can see, we have that same exact gap of a misalignment. So my snare is now off a little bit. The hi-hats have shifted. This kick drum, as you can see, is a little bit ahead. That's bar 1, beat 3. Let's go over here to bar 1, beat 3, and we can see that that's a little ahead as well. So it's there it is right there. There's the kick drum, bar 1, beat with 3. And that's a little ahead. So that's really cool. Now let's take a listen to the drum groove here. And listen to ours. So that's the after. Let's listen to the before. Here I have the same drum groove. You can hear it in that first initial hi-hats and the snare. It's a little more laid back. And what we've done is we've extracted the groove from this drum break and applied the timing over to this pattern that I've created. So how cool is that? We're able to extract the actual feel and groove of that drum break and add that same timing of that pattern over to our drums. Next, I want to focus in on matching the velocity from the audio drum loop over to our MIDI drums as well. So I brought back the MIDI drums back to being stiff. We'll start from square one again. We're going to go back to our groove pool, leave the timing at 100%, and then we're going to go to velocity. And we're going to exaggerate here. We're going to go to 100%. And what that means is I want my drums to match 100% exactly the same velocity changes that are being captured from that drum groove. So let's now go back into the drum dialog box here, the drop down menu, click the groove that, and you could rename this. We can go ahead and rename this and say, groove 1, and that'll show up here in the groove box as well. So here is the groove. We hit commit, and now you'll see some difference also in velocity, which is really cool. So let's listen to that. Really neat, because what it's done is it's actually taken the velocity. Let's see, that's bar 1 beat 2 3, and we go to here bar 1 beat 2 3, and we see the velocity is a lot smaller. That hi-hat's a lot smaller, and velocity there, or in volume, and it's just matching that exactly. So now it's captured the same pocket, the same timing, and it's also now capturing the same velocity changes that it's picking up from the drum groove. So let's listen to both of them together. And it just fits more in the pocket. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna grab this. This is the stiff version. This is before we've committed any grooves to it. Now let's listen to that. Okay, I'm gonna play them simultaneously together, and you'll see, let's see if it still fits the same way. You can definitely feel it and hear it in the hi-hats of my drums along with theirs. Let's go back, add the groove one more time, velocity 100%, match the timing 100%, hit commit, and now together. It's even captured that note that's caught in the end here, and you could see it right here. That little note is also caught there. So that's really cool. Even the mistakes it adds back into my drums to make sure that it's replicating it well. And I could just go ahead, double click this transient, and I'll click that there so everything from this point on doesn't move. Bam, like that. I'll take that guy out, and I'll just go to that MIDI note there and erase that. But really cool, and being able to not only just implement the timing of our audio loops into our MIDI performances, but this can also work backwards. I can go ahead and extract the groove from my MIDI clip. We extract groove, and now as you can see in my groove pool here, there's groove 1, which is the first one, and here's our second groove. So I can also do the same thing. I can take a feel that I've implemented from my MIDI drums. Maybe I've programmed my drums in a certain way without it being quantized, and I like the feel and the groove in the pocket. I can now extract that groove and place it in my groove pool to use that groove onto audio. So here is the audio that we have here. And so let's try this out. Let's bring my stiff MIDI loop here. Just dragging and dropping that. Here's a stiff, straightforward robotic drums, and I'm gonna extract a groove here, and I'll call this one, we'll rename it and say stiff. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the timing here, the bass, and we want to match the quantizing at 100%. So that's a little different than what we've been doing. And so what we're gonna say is every 16th note that we quantize on this audio drum break, I want it to match the quantizing of the groove that we've extracted. So in this case, let's choose stiff, let's hit commit, and bam. And what it's doing here is it's literally quantizing every 16th note. It's matching the exact quantizing of the extracted groove. In this case, it's the MIDI pattern that we created. So now let's listen to the drum groove. So this is backwards now. We've took the stiff robotic drums, extracted that groove, and added that stiff robotic drum vibe over to the drum break. Listen to them both together. Now, extracting grooves doesn't just end with drum breaks or using them for drums in general. You can extract a groove and implement it into any type of audio. I've used this tool, especially when I'm doing remixing and I have an acapella. Well, that vocal wasn't sung to my new drum beat, so I can take the groove from my MIDI programmed drums and put that onto my vocal track so that the vocals actually sit better in my timing or in my new the new groove that I'm creating. So really powerful tool, and I would like to encourage you to use it if you haven't explored it already. And if you have, leave a comment below. Let me know how you use the groove pool, because I'm eager to find out that as well. Well, thanks for watching. Definitely hit the subscribe button so you can stay up to date with the following videos that are going to be a part of this video series so that you don't miss a step. I'll see you soon.